So, we will now have a look at my new world record. So, I beat my own time this morning off stream, and I wanted to take that opportunity to just live stream it before submitting it and doing a bit of commentary, explaining some things. Um, Overall, this run went pretty well. There were like two very big mistakes, but we'll get there um, when we get there. But overall, this is a pretty good run. I will not reveal what the final time is yet. Just a surprise, unless you're watching this on YouTube, and then it'll say it in the title. Um, but yeah, I will just start the video, and I will do the splits at the same time. Because I still don't have splits for this dumb game, and I will just make them with the video now. So we're gonna start. And three, two, one, go. So level one, I'm redoing level one so much. I screw up the trick here so much. So you can basically zip just to this railing, and this first level shows off all the dumb shenanigans that this game has pretty well, in my opinion. It shows you like, hey, you could play all of this level, but how about you just zip straight to everything? So yeah, that's the big thing about this game. You have this frog gun, and it zips you basically to any kind of surface. So level two, you just zip to like even these thin platforms, like anything that you can stand on, you can also zip to. Stairs, walls, corners. You if you go to enemies, like you will pick them up. Unless they're special enemies that are extra sturdy, then you can actually also like go towards them. The game has. Oh, now I didn't do the splits because I was busy talking, but I have splits now. I will think about it. I will have a thunk. Maybe I'll correct them after this. Like this is Twisty Bridge. Twisty Bridge is one of the first tricky levels because you're seeing now I'm grabbing onto the railings, and that's like pixel perfect or almost pixel perfect. Like you have to, if you grab at the top of your jump, it can go over a wall. So you have to grab slightly, like a frame or two, I don't know exactly, before the top of your height to actually zip onto the thing. So the fact that that went so well in Twisty Bridge in this run, that's not a given. Like, so you're now seeing like I dropped there. One thing that's great about this game that was introduced in the latest patch, which sadly turned off a lot of people, is that you can do two grabs in the air, which allows you to infinitely climb walls if you mash or know the rhythm. This blasts this game wide open for very risky strats. Like before, you could only grab once, and then just like you would fall and you could only grab again once you've landed. But now you can do much riskier strats in a much safer way, which is pretty great. Ancient Perilous Aqueduct. So you will also you will sometimes see me grab in the middle of the air. There's two reasons for that. Either I need some extra distance, so if you like grab in the air, you fly a bit farther, or because I flopped and needed to like readjust. So this is the first racing level. In this game, there's a character called Jake, and in every world, in every fifth level of a world, you have to do a race against him, unless you're a speedrunner. Then we just go straight to the end of the level. The levels are structured in such a way that you do the race, and then there's generally like a shortcut to the beginning of the level, and then you can collect all the things. But you can also just like take these shortcuts as direct routes to the goal. So we will not see Jake until World 5. This is the first boss level, Prickly, and the bosses, they are generally pretty easy. However, the first boss and the second boss, they have an annoying quirk. You will see the prickly stomping now, and there's a fly, and you have to grab that and shoot it onto the boss. However, you will also find that there's rocks rolling around. So these rocks can kill the flies. So especially in the first phase, like this boss has 4 phases. In the first phase, there's only one fly. And if that fly lands dumb and gets killed by a rock, you have to wait an entire phase. That's like if that happens, I reset. It just takes too long. It's not worth it. And the second boss has a similar quirk where he can shoot tornado projectiles that can also kill the enemies that you need to damage the boss. So that's why the first 2 bosses are particularly scary, but overall the bosses aren't that difficult compared to the rest of the game. So they're a bit of a breather. NPR, what up? Are you gonna watch my world record? It's live. I play it without hands. I forgot my splits are gonna be off by a couple seconds. That's fine. What you just saw there was a damage boost, which we know from like many other games. Like you can take damage and that makes things faster. It makes you like you do have to manage health at some points in order to make it. And you also saw that we collected a green gem. The green gems, like the emeralds, they're called emeralds because they're the eyes of the bugs, are one of the collectibles. And in this level, like this one is just on the route to the goal, and the other one is a slight detour. The reason we do that is after this level, we will go back to open a chest, and that gives us one extra health. Buy viewers, followers, and primes on mountviewers.com. I will not do that. I will not buy viewers. I will refuse. This is one of my favorite levels, and you will see why. There's the goal, and I screw this up. I go back. And then I don't screw it up, and you can just like this is the game. This is, in my opinion, the level that shows you, hey, player, how do you think about just skipping to the end? Like it's just blatantly there, and I think it's the first level where it was like, hey, maybe I should be speedy. Next up is Drippy Caves, which turned from like one of the more scary levels to one of the ones I like a lot. And there you're gonna see a lot of the like zips straight up. They're screwed up. You can actually get on top of that railing, but there's a safety to just go around, zip from wall to wall. So the current patch has made the game significantly easier, especially if you want to speedrun a game, but you're scared of lots of competition and very nasty tricks. This is a good beginner speedrun platform, I would say. Like it's very forgiving. It's very fun, and it's got a frog gun. What else can I say? So, next up is Ancient Sewers, and this is great. So this level has a cycle. So there's moving platforms, and these platforms, and like almost all of the things in this game are on a cycle. And there's one platform in this level that you cannot skip, like easily. And each of those cycles costs 11 seconds. So this is the platform. If I don't make it there in time, that's 11 seconds extra. So I'm very happy. Like, I don't usually get this in full game runs. So I'm very happy that I got it here. And the world record is even faster. I think the world record for this level is like 21 seconds, and it's rad strats, if I can say so. So now it's the next to Jake level. That's Jake, like the little guy with the purple bandana. But again, we will not trigger his cutscene. We will go up there, just zip to that wall, zip to that railing, and then we will infinitely wall jump to get onto the stream. And from there is just ignore everything, go the straightest line into the level, to the goal. I love this game. It's a great game. Splits. Next up is Kiki. Kiki is a fun boss in individual levels, because there's a trick that I will not show in this run, because in the full game run it doesn't save time. You might have noticed that in all the levels there's these holes in the ground, like this one, but also like other ones, and they lead to side areas where you can get an extra collectible, basically. And you can see in the corner, in the top right corner, you can see the rest of the level, and you can actually like grab onto there and go back into the level while the boss fight happens. And if you go into those holes, the timer stops. So in the level world record, you will just like go into that hole over and over and over again to stop the timer and improve your time that way. It's very silly, and I love that this works. Kiki himself, he has got the best outfit in the game, without a doubt. And you see like these little whirlwinds. These little whirlwinds, they're really mean because they can kill the tiny crocodiles that drop, that you need to damage the boss. Like you will see one of them again. Like the big whirlwind, ironically, for some reason, cannot damage these crocodiles, which would make this a very mean boss fight. Kiki has 3 phases. So this is the last one. He will dash twice, and you also notice like I'm aligning Kiki with the walls of the levels so I can just like goof off while he does his thing. Like he looks like he knows what he does. And you will now see how I avoid losing the last crocodile. You see I have full health, so I will align with Kiki again. He shoots 2 of those little whirlwinds, and then I lure him to the corner to make sure that the crocodile isn't killed by one of the tornadoes. So that's Kiki. And by now the time is sub 11 minutes, and I knew at that point like it's gonna be a good run. It's gonna be a good run, for sure. Although like all of the hard levels come out. Tortitude! That's my fiance. Mwah! Next up is Pushy Hallway. Like in between each world, like the first level of each world is like one of these hallway levels that's like in between the worlds. This one I love particularly. Like you see this pillar in the bottom right corner, you can skip it by just going up there. It's wonderful. And here, this is also like a favorite of platform gamers, just going on top of a wall to skip most of the level. This is not the fastest route. Like you can actually take the inner route there where the enemy and everything is and the spiders. It's a couple seconds faster. It's also more risky, and I was like, okay, I'm having a good run now. I will play this one safe. It's not too difficult to do the fast route, but I was like, I'm gonna be safe. And that's Pushy Hallway. Yeah, there we go. If I can't think of anything smart to say, I'll also just shut up. Or not. I generally don't shut up. Mountaintops, the first snow level. I love this. Like, I would really like to have the world record on this level. Like, there's a strat that I want to make work that I haven't been able to make work yet. You can actually, like, this is the safe route, but you can actually, like, zip to that pillar on the right and go straight to the mushroom, and then you can like drop down there and just zip to those enemies. These are the kinds of enemies that you can actually grab onto, because they're so bulky. But the strat, it's not very viable for full game runs, in my opinion, yet. However, yes, if you start running this game, you could make this possible. Just saying. Mountaintop, yeah. Next up is Cold Cave, and I think I have the world record in this level at this point. It's got a cool strat, but sadly, this level is the first big blunder of the run. Here I'm gonna lose like 30-40 seconds because I do not do well with the big skip in this level. So you will see I will grab onto an enemy, and if you shoot an enemy, you can still grab twice after that. So you get a little extra distance if you jump, shoot the enemy, and then grab twice. You get a little extra distance, but this time I screwed it up. So that cost me 40 seconds. I was briefly considering resetting. But then I was like, okay, my former world record also had a couple pretty big blunders, so I'll let this be like the one big blunder for now. So I ran with it, basically. So getting the enemy. Now you can see it properly. Go infinite wall up and get onto that tiny ledge. I could have like done fewer grabs here for the infinite wall climb, but I was like, okay, I do not want to lose this level again. If I had failed this trick again, I would have restarted probably. Like that would have been a reset. So let's go slidey spiky cave, which is also like a secret favorite. It's got a lot of cool strats, and the world record is pretty rad. Generally, like, you should, if you find this game cool, you should also check out the world records of the individual levels on speedrun.com, just because many individual level world records have strategies that are not viable for the full game run. This, however, is like also like another one of the big skips where it's like normally you're supposed to go through a door and go to this area and go around the castle, and you can just jump over. Like, why not just jump over? Split. Mountain jog. So this is the next chase level. We see Jake on top of that tree, but we will just sneakily jump onto that snowman there to go past that cutscene trigger. And this is the level where I screwed up badly last time. This is still not optimal, but at least I did not die. I do a couple of mistakes, like what you just saw, and also I get stuck here, and I was like, oh no, not again! But I managed to like infinitely wall climb and get back on track. So I only lost a couple seconds there. It's fine. It's fine. This is like not an optimal mountain jog, but frankly, it's fine. I'm not complaining. I'm complaining a little bit. Next up is Wintry, and Wintry is the only boss fight in this game that sort of has speed tech. Like, for the most part, the bosses are auto-scrollers. Like, they take the same amount of time, roughly, no matter what you do, unless you, like, miss a cycle. Wintry is like the only exception to that, where there's a trick to getting that boss fight done faster, and you will see that in a bit. Yeah, you saw that there was a cutscene playing, and you can skip it by pressing start, and there's like an early skip where just like the boss magically appears and it just starts. Here it already went into the cutscene, and now I'll go very close. Boom. Normally there's 3 pillars that you have to jump up. But you can also, like, if you're careful, you can go very, very, very close to her without getting hurt, and just straight up hit her. The boss has 4 phases, and I managed to do that in 3. I think in the last phase I screw it up. I don't go close enough, even though I could just like damage boost. If you have enough health, you can just like stand in her, take the damage, and attack her. But I also was like, hey, I'm having a good run. I shouldn't play too risky, maybe. These pillars that she throws, you can grab onto them, which sadly is not useful anymore. There's 2 levels where you can actually where you could use them to skip things. There's 2 boss rush levels at the end of the game, and in both of them you could grab onto her pillars to get into a later section of the level. Now with the new patch, with the current patch, it's not that new anymore. With the current patch you can just not do that. You can just skip out of her arena immediately. So if you want to watch the brutal rush, the boss rush ILs, the world records, I did those, but only because I didn't mind spending 7 or 8 minutes on one level, frankly. But yeah, not much more. Like you see, you're seeing the boss fights aren't that hard. So you see me goofing off a bit, and I probably do a couple mistakes just because like my mind goes, ugh, that's the last hit. Which I only did that to show you how to casually do that. That's the reason. Next up is Steep Descent, and Steep Descent is like also one of those very, very cool levels where you just literally skip the entire level. You're supposed to like slowly go down, and there's death planes. Like usually you're supposed to die when you jump off there, but the death planes, they're only a couple of tiles big. So if you use the grabbing and the enemies to get over that, just drop down. Just drop down. Drop down to the end. Split. So this is like, we're now in the second half of the run. Like Wintry is the halfway point basically, and I'm like, okay, this run is going well, and but I still want to put in a couple of cool tricks. So this is like damage boosting off the lava to get over there. You can also boost to that other pillar that you saw in the beginning, but I haven't practiced that yet. It's, I think, faster, but I wanted to like stick to the things that I know how to do, even though that doesn't go perfectly every time either. And you also notice that the snails, the slugs that you see there, they're one of the enemy types that you can actually zip towards too. I keep saying zip, although like in speedrunning terms, that's mostly associated with Mega Man speedrunning, but it just sounds like the right word to use. Because you zip with the Frogun. So jump up there, zip to the slug, get up here. This is one of my favorite levels because what I really like is grabbing onto stairs to get like, you don't see the whole level that you see parts of the level on the left. I'm pointing at the screen, and that's not even where you're supposed to look. It's dumb. Stairs are a good thing to grab onto. That's what we learned today. Basically. Did I? Yeah, I did do the thing. So Toss Swamp. Toss Swamp is great. Toss Swamp used to be like the longest, most annoying level until the new patch, and I'm not sure if I was the first person to do this, if I discovered this skip, but you can just grab onto this part and go up there. It's super annoying. It's super unreliable. Like, you can go up onto that railing very fast or very slow. Like, this is more on the slow end of things. But even like this, it still saves, like, I don't know, half a minute. 20 seconds, 30 seconds, I don't know. Because there's a whole bunch of level with things that you can't easily skip, with things that are risky. So if you manage to do that, that's a big skip. So here I screw up a bit, but that's fine because I got the checkpoint, so I don't mind. I'm very happy I got the checkpoint, because otherwise that would have been like 30-40 seconds lost again. But this is fine. This I was like, yeah, it's a minor problem, but very easy to take. Toss Swamp. And after Toss Swamp, like, if Toss Swamp went well, that's when my mind goes to, oh, I think this could be a good run. Because Toss Swamp can screw you over if you're not focused. Hot Feet, the next Jake level, where we will not see Jake again. Instead of like going to the cutscene trigger, we will zip to that tooth there, and over there, to the coin box, to those little like black blobs that just exist. I like the black blobs because I figure like the devs were like, okay, we need another thing to grab onto. It's like, I made this black goop ball. Let's just hang it places. It's wonderful. Shout out to black goop balls. Next up is Scorchy, the second coolest boss, I would say. And like, you saw Wintry, and now the bosses, they're much more cooperative. Like, there's no enemies that you have to throw that can be killed by any other hazards. So the bosses are a lot more free, but the levels leading to them are less free. So there was a damage boost. That's a bit tricky. You can grab onto the fire tornadoes. So if you have a lot of health, you can save a second or so there. And I'm gonna get the checkpoint because I want full health. My least favorite way to lose a run is probably being dumb at a boss, because if you're good at the game, the bosses are basically free. So that's the saddest way to lose a run, I would say. So yeah, it's the second coolest boss. The coolest boss is Kiki because of that whole 80s aesthetic, like the little windshield hat and the tennis socks. But look at Scorch, he has like a chain and sunglasses, and he's a dragonfly, so it's a close second. The boss, like, you just saw the end of the first phase. The boss stomps into the ground, there's a block, and you have to align with the block, so he dashes, so boom, into that block. Beyond that, this is probably maybe the easiest boss. Prickly is maybe easier, but he has that whole destroying enemies thing going on. But it's like, avoid, like, if he dashes towards you, you can just jump over it. And then he starts doing an even slower dash, where he has like big flame wings, as you will see now. Like, you've seen it before, but now I'm pointing it out. It's very slow and easy to jump over. Like, he does the, in my opinion, more tricky attack first, and then starts doing easier attacks. But not much more to say about this boss, except he's cool. I'll have a drink. So this is the third phase. There will be one more. Like, people say this boss is tricky sometimes because of all the falling rocks, and they're kind of random. But I don't know, for some reason, like, I don't have a big problem with avoiding those. Maybe one more thing that's interesting to say about the bosses is that the phases, they're always the same. So while things like falling rocks and the pillars from Wintry, like, all of the, like, projectiles that are being thrown and how they land, they are random, but the attacks themselves, they're on a set pattern. So the bosses will always do the same things in the same order every time. Which I guess makes sense for, like, if you're aiming at making a speed game, it would be pretty silly if, like, just randomness in boss patterns could screw you over. Especially considering that, as you see, the boss levels are the longest levels by far. Like, there I miss menu, go in the wrong direction. I was sitting on the couch in the living room and probably thinking of something else. I don't know. I'm very smart. Another very short level, like, zip onto that, and there you saw what I mentioned in the beginning. Like, if you are a couple frames or a frame too high, then you grab over the things and you have to redo it. Now we're in World 5, and World 5 is, in my opinion, the most difficult world in this entire game. Like, every level is pretty long-ish, like, at least the next couple ones. They have difficult tricks. They are very dark, as you can see. Sometimes it's literally just difficult to see where you're supposed to go because it's so dark. You're relying on these spiders, and if you're not careful, you miss cycles, and then you just grab into nothingness. World 5 is scary. It's, in my opinion, the scariest part of the run. If you're past World 5 and have a good time, then it's a good run. Like, it's not impossible to screw up in World 6, but not as much as it is here. So there I already felt like I was pushing it, going to that spider. I don't know what with that that spider clipping there that cracked me up when I saw it. But yeah, that's 5-2, 5-2, 5-3, and 5-4. They're all butt clenchers, at least for me. In Chamber of Spooks, I have the world record in this level, and there's a cool strat that I did not use now. Like, there's a strat that would save me like another, I don't know, 4 or 5 seconds, maybe less. I don't know actually, where you just, instead of like going that direction, you can just immediately go to that big platform on top. But I was like, okay, I'm having a really good run. I'm in World 5. I am sub 30 minutes. I will not let Chamber of Spooks screw that up, so I decided not to do the cool trick. Which I think in retrospect was definitely a good call. Like I would have been bummed out. Like this here, I screw up a little bit, I fall down, have to reset the infinite wall climb, and yeah. So this was an okay Chamber of Spooks. I'm a bit sad not having shown off the cool trick, but it was definitely the safer thing to do here. On to Dark Place. Dark Place is my least favorite level out of all of them. It's got dumb tricks. Like usually you could just skip straight to the enemy. I was just nah. I'm not gonna. I've died so many times in this level. There you can zip onto the centers of these turny things, which is pretty cool. Took an extra jump there to aim for the coin box. There's two reasons that this level is so dumb. There's probably more reasons that this level is dumb. There's these spider cycles that are really hard to keep track of. There's the fact that it's just a very long level. There are these invisible platforms. There's the enemies shooting things, and you can grab onto the enemies, but you can also grab onto the bullets. So if you're not careful, you grab onto a bullet and you just like land in nothingness. So that's why I play this pretty safe. Apart from this is the cool trick trademark. So you can just go from fire thing to fire thing, and there's a whole path of invisible tiles. You just skip them. So I'm super happy that this skip worked. Saves a whole bunch of time. But yeah, it's got 2 areas. It's got so many paths. It's so long. It's my least favorite level out of all of them. It's still a cool level, but I don't think I wanna get a world record in it. It's frustrating, to say the least. But yeah, it went pretty well. So after Dark Place, that's basically the point where I was thinking, I think this is the run. Like this, from this point forward, it's pretty hard to screw up anything majorly. But then we get to 5-6. Now we will actually meet Jake. For the first and only time in this game, this is Jake. And we'll just still do the thing we do in all the other levels. We will go through the shortcut, go to the end of the level, and we will not even see like the "oh no, you beat me" cutscene, because the cutscene trigger for that is somewhere else in the level. Hi Laika, thank you. It's not live. Like this is a world record. I'm just doing commentary, but you don't have to wish me good luck anymore. So this is Hexy. I screwed up Hexy. I'm very sad about this, because this is the level why I'm checking if it actually makes sense to screw around with the options, because as you might notice, like I can zip to things, and there's sometimes this little target thingy. You can actually turn on auto aim, and the Frogun will actually there, and now completely flubbed it right at the end. So that's like another 40 seconds lost. There's auto aim, and you can like have the Frogun lock onto things automatically. However, this sometimes leads to you aiming at things that you don't want to aim at, that are just next to what you want to aim for. And I think for the next run, I want to check if maybe it makes sense at some point to activate auto aiming. The reason I haven't done this yet is that the timer goes on. Basically, there was sneaky. I was like, I want to get some time back, so I do the swaggy thing, grabbing onto the tooth. Yeah, I'm gonna check if it maybe makes sense at some point to activate the auto aim, in a way that it doesn't interfere with the other strats for the rest of the level. In the very, very first level, for example, if you go back, scroll back now, there no auto aiming. Like, you can only do this if there's no auto aim. What you just saw is another of my favorite things in this game. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of things I love about this game. But this boss, Hexy, has different spells, as you can see, and the last one is always this psychic ball. And usually it like just zips around, tries to catch you, unless you just stay put. And then it just hovers in front of you until it falls down and you can use it to attack. It's wonderful. I am very happy about many, many things that work in this game. That maybe weren't supposed to work, but they do. And I think this boss also has 4 phases. So I think attack-wise, just like from the attack patterns and everything, I think Hexy is my favorite, just because there's always something fun going on. It's a cool design, and there's a dumb glitch at the end. It has everything. It has something for everyone, basically. You can also this wind attack. If you just briskly walk out of the way, you're out of that cone. And that makes avoiding the rest of the attacks way, way easier. So that's the third phase. And you're seeing, like, in the bottom left corner, 36, 20. This is a pretty good time for this part of the run. So you can imagine that I might, like, I was nervous at this point, basically, but I think, oh, I forgot the split. But then come Gateway to the Core, and this trick, I'm so happy that this worked, because this is another cycle. Like, the spiders go up, and when the spiders are gone, it's a bit more difficult to get up there, so I'm really happy I got that cycle. I played it a bit, and not safe here. Like, I could have done this faster, but I was like, I do not want to screw anything up anymore at this point. I didn't grab onto the spider, because I was like, screw that. That spiders. The spiders are evil, basically. Unlike in real life, where spiders are your friends, in this game, it's more of a, I don't know, it's complicated. Golden Depths. So the World 6. The levels in World 6 are probably among the shortest in the whole game, barring the first world. They all have really cool ways to just go straight to the ending. They're more like, compared to the rest of the game, these levels are more like puzzle box exploration things more than straightforward levels, where it's like the end of the level is just in some corner and you have to find it. And if you don't go there, you'll find all sorts of collectibles. Which makes it very easy to just go straight to the end. Next comes the Treasure Vault. The Treasure Vault used to be the last big butt clencher for me. Like, the last one where I'm like, okay, I can screw up big time here. Because you want to skip over there to those pillars. And now, like, you can do this. You can, like, buffer a bit in the air, and it works almost every time. Here, usually you're supposed to get hit by that thing to get up there. That took me 2 tries. I'm clearly playing. I'm playing with this instrument that you, like, hover your hands over. But yeah, this level, ever since I figured out how to use the pillar like that, it makes this level way, way, way less scary. Like, if you watch my other world record, I think I die there like 2 or 3 times. So, the Foundry. The Foundry is cool because you start in this area and there's like 4 directions and you're supposed to go into each one and activate a button. You can just go straight to the path to the goal. It's wonderful, really. I wonder like how many of these things are intended by the developers. Like, they did make it a speed game. They included a speedrun mode, but not sure which and how many of these things were intended by the devs. Second to last level, the last chase, but we will not see Jake. Like, we will see Jake there, and this is the level where he goes like, "Hey, you're not trying to steal all of the treasure? Oh, you're trying to look for your parents." That's the story of the game, by the way. Renata, that's her name. She's looking for her parents. And then he's like, "Oh, okay, cool. I will help you find your parents." And then he doesn't really. He just races. So, final level. You see, my time is around 40 minutes and 6 seconds. And the last level is the longest level. It's the long boy. And I really, really didn't want to play it too risky. You can actually like go up there already, but I decided immediately, like, I'm gonna play this as safe as I feel comfortable with. So onto the little flies with the helmets, onto there. The next skip is free. This feels like when you lost your parents in a big supermarket when you were a child. Suddenly you're in Golden Temples. Is that a Family Guy joke? Hey, Lois, this reminds me of the time I was a child and suddenly I was in Golden Temples. But yeah, this level has 3 areas before the boss. It's not that tricky, but it does give some opportunity to screw up. And like, yeah, I'm playing this very safely. And I'm very, very nervous. Like, I'm reasonably good at the final boss, but Beelzebub can give you a hard time. It's the longest boss. He has all sorts of attacks. Like, this one, in my opinion, is probably the scariest because the patterns can sometimes be really, really mean. And on top of that, he basically recycles all of the attacks. All of these attacks are recycled from the other bosses. So the stomping was from Prickly. Next up, we'll have a Kiki attack. Did just weird world record happen just recently? I got the old world record. I think 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago. No, 2 weeks ago it must have been, or a week. I don't know. I got the world record recently. But I wanted to have a better world record. For those of you watching on YouTube, I'm responding to chat, in case that wasn't clear. Anyway, how do you damage this enemy? You have to pull these things under him. There I did it suboptimally. You can do it in 2 grabs. Like, that was also discovered recently-ish. If you, like, diagonally pull them, it automatically pulls them the maximum amount, so you can do it in 2 grabs. This is the scariest attack, in my opinion. Like, you have to hide behind the pillar to not get hit, but the hitbox is kind of janky. Like, you can have the impression that you're standing behind it perfectly and you still get hit. But here I managed to not get hit. Now, this is the 3rd phase. The 3rd out of 5, and that's what I mean. Like, I diagonally pull it, and it just goes where I want it to be. Phase number 4, first there's more of this. This is always the beginning of Beelzebub. Like, this is the original. Like, Beelzebub has 2 original attacks. Which is this. This is, like, from Scorchy. And his last attack. The last attack is also, like, a Beelzebub original. These are the fire rings. So this is the end of the 4th phase, and there I was like goofing off in my brain because I could have positioned myself better and do this faster, but it's fine. It's fine. So, final phase. So we're going to see everything again. Prickly's bounces. Then we're going to have Kiki's zigzaggedy-zoo. And this is scary, actually. Like, he summons some pillars. And I was like, okay, I'm safe. And then he does this. Like, I was like, no. Like, don't kill me now, please. I had 4 health, but I was like, I can still screw this up. Now we have Hexy's thing and Scorchy's fire rings in combination. And after that, we get the final attack. Which I think is very fitting. Like, here he summons these skulls and then electrifies the ground. And that's a very, like, show us one final time that you know how to use the Frogun, basically. And there's the final hit. And it's not quite time yet. Like, time actually stops with the end screen. So time 44 41 51 555. That's the new world record. It's the video stopped.